Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Red Bull Ring. Right, hello, back to the channel. Today, we are here with the Austrian GP, and it's gonna be a good one. It's good to be back. I hope we're all doing well. So basically, how these videos work, we talk about the free practice, then we talk about the qualifying, and then we talk about the race itself. But before we do, we need to talk about the special helmets. So there, at least from what I found, are two special helmets that we're going to talk about. So to start off, we have Max Verstappen with his iconic orange helmet and merch design. This really beautiful orange design, and this just looks absolutely incredible. I honestly love it. I love the Max Verstappen orange color, and even like the hat design just looks amazing as well. Overall, it's great to see Max in orange, so that's very cool to say. And speaking of orange, we have Oscar Piastri with his special helmet. Now, I've tried looking, and unless I find something while editing, I cannot find a proper picture of Oscar Piastri's helmet. It's very weird. I have not really found any promotional materials for this, except for this one screenshot. We have this kind of blue polka dot type helmet design, blue and yellow, and I think this looks very, very cool. But overall, I think it looks great. You know, I love Oscar. So as well as that, we actually had a good few teams getting their upgrades. So here is a list of all the teams and how many upgraded components they have, with Cadillac having the most amount of upgraded parts. So hopefully, you know, with the new team, we will see them do quite well this race, and maybe kind of going from the back to the midfield, with Red Bull and Audi both having 7 components, Alpine having 5, Ferrari getting 2, then Mercedes, McLaren, Racing Bulls, and Haas getting 2, and then Williams, Aston Martin, 0. So now let's talk about the free practice. So for free practice 1, it's a 1-2 for Mercedes, with Kimi Antonelli getting the fastest, followed by George Russell, and then the special helmet himself, Oscar Piastri. After a really disappointing weekend last for Kimi, I really hope that Kimi does well. Obviously, by the time this video comes out, you will know that, but I'm recording this before as well for free practice 1, with Max Verstappen getting 4th fastest, followed by Lewis Hamilton to round out the top 5. And then moving on to free practice 2, we have Kimi Antonelli getting fastest once again, followed by Oscar Piastri in 2nd and Lando Norris in 3rd. But it's really good to see Kimi Antonelli having some consistency during the free practice sessions, followed by once again Max Verstappen in 4th and Lewis Hamilton in 5th, followed by George Russell, who went down to 6th. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen kind of having a bit of consistency in the first 2 practice sessions. And speaking of Hamilton, free practice 3, we have George Russell taking the top spot, with George Russell going the fastest, Kimi Antonelli the 2nd fastest, and Lewis Hamilton making his way into the top 3, followed by the 2 McLarens, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris taking the top 4 and 5, with Max Verstappen gone down to 6th. With these upgraded components, hopefully that means we're going to see some more action from these other teams. I would really love to see, you know, like Cadillac kind of making their way into the midfield, even though it might be like a year or 2. Hopefully, you know, they're making a good start of it currently as we speak. So now let's move on to the qualifying. And ladies and gentlemen, what a interesting quali session that was. We have a little bit to talk about, so I guess let's just get right into it. So starting off at the bottom, we have both the Aston Martins with Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in 22nd and 21st, followed by both the Cadillacs with Valtteri Bottas in 20th and Sergio Perez in 19th, then followed by both of the Williams with Alexander Albon in 18th and Carlos Sainz in 17th. And then moving up, we have in 16th Franco Colapinto in the Alpine, Esteban Ocon in 15th, Nico Hulkenberg in 14th, Oliver Behrman in 13th, Gabriel Bortoleto in 12th, and then Pierre Gasly in 11th. And if you watched it, oh my god, how close that was between Max Verstappen almost being knocked out before the final bit of qualifying. And now we move on to the top 10. We have both of the Racing Bulls with Arvid Lindblad in 10th and Liam Lawson in 9th. ninth, followed by the Red Bull with Isaac Hadjar in 8th, and both of the McLarens with Oscar Piastri in 7th and Lando Norris in 6th. Then we have Max Verstappen in 5th, where Max unfortunately had a bit of a bad crash right at the very end of qualifying. I believe he probably could have gotten pole position if that crash never happened. So it's really, really unfortunate to see. But anyway, speaking of Kimi Antonelli in 4th. It's really upsetting. We could have had Kimi getting a podium start. Amazing drive from Kimi. And then we get on to the top 3 with both of the Ferraris. A 2-3 for Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton in 3rd and Charles Leclerc in 2nd. It looked like it could have been a pole for Charles, but our first place, George Russell, comes through with a pole position. This is absolutely amazing. Great to see from George. There was a bit of a controversy with his time, as people were kind of saying how with the double yellow, maybe it shouldn't have been. At least right now, it seems like he's been given his lap time. So overall, it's going to make the race so interesting. I need to know, what do you guys think of the qualifying? What are your opinions on the likes of George Russell's time, Max Verstappen's crash, of all of this? Have a comment down below. So yes, now let's move on to race day itself. And what an amazing race that was. Ladies and gentlemen, the Austrian GP has come to an end. George Russell wins at the Red Bull Ring. Honestly, this podium is, at least for me, my ideal podium. Absolutely amazing to see. Followed by Max Verstappen after a really unfortunate crash. He's come back and let's go. It is so great to see Max coming back and doing so well. And then Kimi Antonelli finish off the podium. I'm so glad after a very unfortunate end for Kimi's race last time. And now with Kimi Antonelli being exactly 40 points ahead of George Russell, who has now regained 2nd place. It's looking like a very close drivers' championship, especially between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, with there being a 45-point gap between 3rd and 4th. So it seems that, at least right now, obviously a lot can change. As of right now, it is a 3-way title fight. Well, as of right now, Kimi is ahead, and it's a 2-way fight for 2nd place. So starting at the bottom, make our way up to the top, and then we'll talk about all the little incidents that have happened throughout the race. So unfortunately, we had 4 DNFs this race, with Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, and Lance Stroll, with Bottas's brakes unfortunately catching on fire due to the extreme heat, which was a bit of a challenge for most of the drivers, with Perez also getting out, I believe, because of some engine failures, and with Carlos Sainz getting out due to an engine failure, just the car completely shutting off, which we've seen multiple times throughout the season with other drivers, and then Lance Stroll having to come to the pits to retire the car. Fernando Alonso down by 3 laps, which is unfortunate to see, and Alexander Albon and Esteban Ocon both being 2 laps down, followed by Franco Colapinto, Oliver Behrman, Pierre Gasly, Nico Hulkenberg, Gabriel Bortoleto, Alfred Lindblad, and Liam Lawson, all being 1 lap down. Then moving up to our top 8, we have Charles Leclerc, followed by Lando Norris in 7th, who had a bit of an incident in the pit lane, but it was discarded. Followed by Isaac Hadjar, he put up a good race. I will say Isaac did put up a good race, with Lewis Hamilton, who was at the top for most of the race, finishing in 5th, with Oscar Piastri making a good 4th. And then obviously our podium with Kimi, Max, and George. Overall, just a great race. As well as that, Kimi went off track a few times. I believe 2 times at the start. Yeah, Kimi kind of struggled at the beginning. He didn't really lose too many positions. He did have to give a position back once though, but overall, very lucky that he didn't really lose many positions or get any penalties. But Liam Lawson's car kind of catching on fire a little bit. That didn't really lead to anything bad happening, as it kind of put itself out relatively quickly. And with Sainz's car stopping due to a mechanical failure, that brought out a safety car. A very unfortunate timing for Kimi. I believe Kimi could have gotten 1st place. He pitted a lap too early. Right as soon as he came out of the pits, a safety car occurred. So overall, such a great race. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was so fun to watch. A lot of good moments, and Max Verstappen getting 2nd after a really bad time in qualifying. It's great to see. And are you excited for the British GP next week? We're going to end it there. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new, please do subscribe. subscribe, notifications, hit the bell, subscribe to TL Racing and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TL Racing F1. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.